When a property-carrying CMV driver is fighting a ticking clock, schedule flexibility is essential, but utilizing that flexibility requires exact math. Today, we will outline the sleeper-sleeper berth provision. Note that we are specifically focusing on property-carrying vehicles. Passenger-carrying CMVs are subject to different regulations and are excluded from this guide. This checklist outlines the foundational rule of the split. A valid split uses a maximum of 2 rest periods, and together, those 2 periods must total at least 10 hours. Within those 2 periods, there are strict minimums. One period must include at least 7 consecutive hours spent in the sleeper berth. The second, shorter period must be at least 2 consecutive hours. That shorter period can be off-duty time, sleeper berth time, or a combination of both. You can take these 2 periods in either order. The math must equal 10 or more. 7 sleeper hours combined with 3 off-duty hours works. 8 sleeper hours paired with 2 off-duty hours also works. However, taking 7 hours in the sleeper and only 2 hours off-duty is an immediate violation, because 7 plus 2 only equals 9 hours. Strictly adhering to these minimums prevents drivers from falling into the common 7 and 2 trap. Calculating the exact 10 hours ensures drivers get their legally required rest while maintaining the flexibility to split their time. This horizontal timeline maps a driver's 14-hour duty window to show exactly how these split periods interact with driving and on-duty time. A common myth is that the split sleeper berth pauses your clock. It does not. Once your 2 periods are properly paired, those qualifying rest periods are excluded from the 14-hour calculation. They do not pause or extend the clock. They are simply carved out of the total. Completing a split does not automatically grant a new 14-hour window or 11 new driving hours. To find your remaining time, your recalculation anchor point must start exactly from the end of the first qualifying period. From that exact anchor point, you combine the driving and on-duty time that occurred between the 2 rest periods with the time you accumulate after the second period. Let's test this. Pause the video, look at the timeline's post-split driving segment, and calculate exactly how many driving hours this driver has left before hitting the 11-hour limit. If you traced the calculations starting from the end of the first qualifying period, you found the correct answer. You add the driving time before the second break to the driving time after it. This ELD graph shows what these combined periods look like on a modern tracking system. The step-like red line logs the exact transition between on-duty, driving, sleeper berth, and off-duty statuses, accurately tracking the exclusion of the paired breaks from the 14-hour window. Tracking the time precisely from that first recalculation anchor point is the only way to utilize split breaks without accidentally triggering 11-hour or 14-hour violations on the road. There are specific exceptions based on the type of rest taken. For team drivers in a moving property-carrying CMV, up to 3 hours riding in the passenger seat can be combined with at least 7 consecutive hours in the sleeper berth. This team driver scenario only works if the periods are immediately consecutive. When they abut perfectly, they act as a standard 10-hour reset, rather than a non-consecutive split. You might also encounter a sandwich scenario. For example, 1 hour off-duty, immediately followed by 8 hours in the sleeper berth, followed by another hour off-duty. This is not an invalid 3-period split. Because all the time is consecutively off-duty or in the sleeper berth, it counts as a valid 10 consecutive hour reset. Under the July 1, 2026 FMCSA guidance, drivers gain an additional option, a 10 consecutive hour rest period that includes at least 7 hours in the sleeper berth can either be treated as a full reset of your daily clocks, or it can be paired with a later 2-hour break. You can choose whichever option is most advantageous to your route. Understanding the clear line between a paired split and a consecutive block reset allows drivers to legally maximize their available hours, keeping the freight moving safely even when schedules go off track. We need to zoom out to the macro weekly clocks, specifically the 60-hour 7-day limit and the 70-hour 8-day limit. The split sleeper berth provision does not reset, pause, or extend these cumulative limits in any capacity. Your macro clocks keep running. To successfully use the split, follow these numbers. One period requires at least 7 consecutive sleeper hours. Neither break can be under 2 hours. Together, they must total 10 hours. Order doesn't matter. but you must recalculate limits from the first break's end. When you apply the exact arithmetic of the split sleeper berth provision, you turn a rigid regulatory clock into a highly adaptable tool, ensuring your property transport operations remain both compliant and safe.